back. There was the intro music there. I felt like there was supposed to be an intro, but I've come in early. I just wanted to give you an extra few seconds of me. So now I'm here, I'm in the studio. Get used to it. I'm joined alongside with Harry. For some reason I wanted to say Hugo. It was on the cusp. It was on my tongue. Nearly said it.
Oh, that would have been terrible.
I know.
Yeah. But
what a shame for everyone.
Wow. Okay, there we go. Shots have been fired already, and many more are going to get fired as we get ready to get into the second map of tonight's second series between Mouse and G2, and just getting into the server. But yeah, before we get into this, you know, how are you feeling based on what we saw on Cobble? Yeah. You know, there's a lot that has been kind of brought into question, and you know, perhaps what we kind of thought Mouse had a much better chance in now is a lot more up in the air. So how do you kind of, now, what's your opinion on all that? Yeah,
it was kind of a shock for both of us, right? Yeah. I mean, when you look at it, because you're thinking, all right, G2, they've had a bit of a struggle. I mean, sure, they have got good players, but no one's really been popping up as well as they used to be. And in terms of team structure, they just haven't looked as good on a team-by-team basis again, like as Mousesports have. And well, honestly, it was just a shocking result across the board, I think. We saw a lot more sort of communication in terms of teamwork that came out from G2. It just seemed a whole lot better in terms of decision-making. More so than anything, though, I think Mousesports just struggled because, as we said, the try-factor was not there. That Triforce was not there at all. It was lackluster. I mean, the only one that actually really popped off was Chris J. We saw Chris J and Robs. Like, I mean, Chris as well, he's not really one you expect to see up there. So it was very odd how things actually panned out. And I think, more than anything, that was all it was. They just didn't have the individual firepower to touch yourself down. Oscar didn't have the greatest game. Lau had a few key individual moments, but that was about it.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, coming into Nuke, one of the things we were kind of saying is that, you know, Oscar's someone who you look to on this map to really open up possibilities. You can't rely on Rops as much, and that's kind of what we learned the other night when we did see him play in their game versus Envy. There, it was kind of Lol and Oscar who were the two driving forces of the whole thing, whereas, you know, Rops fell off a little bit. Not a map that he's perhaps as confident on, because, you know, Envy certainly weren't the issue. In their previous game on Cobble, he was performing insanely well. So, yeah, you know, I think you can't rely on the players that were stepping up in this game, you know, on the last game, sorry, on Cobble. You need to rely on the two that were the most silent, and I think, you know, that's a terrifying prospect, especially when you look across the pond and you see Kenny is a monster on this map, and, you know, that's what we're about to see now. Is actually we're going to be getting into this very swiftly. Let's see how this does pan out. We got G2 starting things off on the T side. Mao's going to be over on the CT side, so they do have at least the better side to begin on, which hopefully could yield them a bit of a home field advantage.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a confidence booster early. They need all they can get to try and give them something to work with. Body with the one to kick it off, though, actually, as he takes his fight over towards ramp. Could be the first initial confrontation. They're playing more of a split and pick style CS here, just actually grouping up, waiting by radio for a late round burst through. Kenny Harris actually leading the charge. You can see a little bit confused about the smoke here. He's not too sure if he has actually got through okay, but he has been able to slip his way down through that vent now. Relink up with the rest of his teammates as they're trying to make their play down towards Epi bomb site. Oscar actually blocked them, I believe. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Kenny couldn't quite figure out why he couldn't get down the ladder, but now it's Dennis over towards Hell, quickly dealt with actually by Kenny, who are angry after he couldn't quite slide down the lubricated ladder a moment ago, courtesy of Robson. Well, now we're going to be seeing a 3-on-3 ensue. Oscar down in towards this B bomb site, trying to hold things back, and actually he does kind of force their hand. MBK opts to now leave and retreat to rejoin the rest of his teammates over here, as they look like they're going to push in towards A. Lol's already gone towards Squeaky's. Going to be right, just waiting in the corner. Going to be the thorn in their side. Rops is all the way down on B, very much dedicated to this one position. And Oscar, well, he's got aggressive injury. Squeaky to try and force the issue. Catches one player off guard as Apex goes down. Look at him try and bite off even more. But Kenny and MBK, they combine between them, turning into a 2-on-1. It's all on Rops, the newest addition to the Mousesports roster. Can he clutch it out 1v2?
Let's wait and see. He will start to reposition, try and take his fight through here. MBK and Kenny just going to be swarming around, trying to clear the angles. Not quite sure where the CT attack will be coming from. Sick headshot comes through, though. Kenny S has been dispatched. Rops in a good situation to try and take both of these frags and actually close this round out. It'll be a huge opener for Mousesports if he can do so. Spots out, and MBK actually does find the frag somehow. The headshot comes through. Rops, just what he needed. There's the 2 kills, and that is the opening pistol.
And, you know, there's something oddly fantastic about watching a new kind of young, inexperienced player like Rops do stuff like that up against, you know, these players that have been around for ages, have countless amounts of experience over him, and he still manages to clutch that 1v2 with the finesse of someone who's been playing this game for years, and that's why he's someone who is kind of in the spotlight so much right now. And, you know, if that doesn't bring a smile to your face, then I don't know what will. 1-0 right now as Mouse. They do find the pistol round to try and kickstart their CT half. We can already see G2 force buying down Tech9s across the board with the exception of MBK, who's got himself a UMP, and lots of aggression over towards ramp. Going to be the order of the day. And it's going to be on Rops, the man in question, to try and hold this back. Push comes in. He immediately falls back, looking to try and buy time for the rotate. Doesn't want to give up a man advantage as well. And we can already see the rotate in full effect. Players teaming in towards this B site as Rops finds the first. The trades come through from MBK as it gets put into a 4-on-4. Oscar smoked out, but he's still got the double doors, of which he can try and deny this bomb plant.
Smoke goes through. Actually, could aid him a little bit later on into this round if they want to try and go for a bit of a confusing play. I mean, potentially hit that. The audio cue could distract the opposition. He is going to peek from window, though. His teammates are doing work as well. Chris J finds the head of Shox. Unfortunately, Kenny S can retaliate. Oscar breaks the windows to try and give away his position, plant that seed of doubt. You can see Kenny now focusing towards it. Heavily locked in, eagle-eyed, as he waits for the push to come through. But they are actually all going to converge at the same time. Dennis tries to kick it off as he peeks through vents. The rest of his teammates now flood in towards the bomb site, but can they find the frags?
Looking like the answer is going to be yes. It's all on Body. Well, he gets Body. Down he goes. Defuse going to be coming on in from Lol. He didn't have a kit. It's going to be a little bit close, but there's still time left to grab it. Mouse, they go ahead and pick that round up as well. 2-0. They maintain the lead, but they only keep 2 players alive. And Lol, taking up a sacred vow of pacifism, still has yet to deal any damage with that UMP. And only keeping 2 players alive. Not really the start they would like, because that bomb plant's going to allow G2 now to buy down as they try to catch Mouse off guard. And they might just do that. I mean, Chris J's only got the scout to play around with. Now, this map does lend itself a little bit better to the scout, arguably, than Cobblestone does, especially towards this outside area. But still, as they run on by, does find some damage. Lots of damage done, actually, as it's just a shooting gallery for him. Chris J lining them up, knocking them down. The nade looking to do even more, and there's the slam dunk. It's all on Apex. And no problem for him, Oscar and Dennis, to finish off the push towards outside.
I'm going to buy around that as well. Reinvest into this round.
Oh, look at that
good replay here of the Void, the slow existential crisis that is absorbing all of us and taking us down. But the deco buy comes out for G2. It'll be interesting to see what they can actually bring to the table with this. Obviously, Mousesports this time around looking to try and keep this going and get their 4th round on the board here. Chris J will fire out a juicy little tag early. There's the nade from Dennis as well. Good teamwork to remove Apex from the equation.
And then there's the aggression from Lel. Finds himself his first frag on the back of the UMP. Farms up some cash. MBK with the Deagle, not to be messed with. And it's unless you're Dennis. No problem taking him down, but then there's Body to instantly return. The Deagle's actually putting a nice bit of work. They find themselves 2 frags, put it into a 2-on-3, and it's only Lol over here towards A, but he is looking to try and deny this. Finds himself 1 out of Kenny. Body going to be taking the peek. They know exactly where he is, and it's the USP of Lol to find the hat-trick. 4-0 for Mouse now. They have a commandeering start on their CT side. Money aplenty, though, now for G2 as they buy down into this round. Going to have the AWP on Kenny, everything they're going to need. He doesn't have armor, though, so he will be at the full mercy of the utility outside, and that's something that's been pivotal. I mean, the scout's been doing the damage, but the nades have been getting the kills.
Yeah, that's true. He's been doing a lot of early transfers of damage to the scout. You nade in, blows him out the server. It's been good though. The you know, the kind of 1-2 combo punch has been very effective so far. G2 though into this round have a lot more to play with in terms of their arsenal and utility. Actually, they're going to go for a fast play towards outside, try to take that map control. Oscar is toying with them, playing around the smoke. Though Body is the first man to actually make it the whole hog through. They have slipped their way down secret, try and take their fight towards every bomb site. No one to really try and ward them off and actually contest against them. And they are going to come up against their first target here, and Rops will actually find the first frag, takes down Apex, but Body can retaliate as he finds the headshot back on towards him, leaves him in this 4 versus 4 now. Oscar is waiting nearby to try and do some damage, but Shoxy takes a very sexy shot to remove him from the equation. Shoxy as well, 2 frags into this round, hungry for more.
Yeah, but towards ramp, you've got Chris J trying to peek out wide with the AWP. Wants to try and spot this out, and Lol, meanwhile, elsewhere, going to be able to dispatch of Kenny, so they have been able to put it back into a 2-on-2, and Shoxy can't connect these shots, gets caught out mid-air, and it's going to be tagged down low on the back of that shot from the AWP. MBK going to be the difference maker, catches Lol out. Now they've only got to worry about Chris J, and I mean, MBK with the bomb in tow, just rotating up towards A immediately. You can see Shox is to take the long rotate. What this does mean is if Chris J gets there fast enough, he can isolate this engagement on site into a 1-on-1. Shox is tagged down low. He just mustn't take the peek towards outside. Now, hopefully he doesn't fall for this, and looks like he's just instead going to go straight in towards A. They do have a nice crossfire set up now between Shox and MBK because they've had more than enough time to get into these afterplants. But Chris J in the smoke, huge balls, no kit, going to be going for the defuse, and, well, does not pan out for him. MBK spots him there, takes him out, and that's going to be G2 to find themselves their first round.
Good stuff from G2. Just what they needed. They needed to start soon, and they were actually able to keep themselves afloat into this matchup. As early on, Mousesports were definitely dominating. Thing is, Dennis actually Dennis has 6 frags on the board. First time we've seen him actually leading the charge on the side of Mousesports in a very long time. Interesting to see that actually coming to fruition. But anyway, let's see what carries on into this round. Oscar will attempt to catch off the players that are bursting their way through. Expects them to once again go for a vent burst down towards this B-bomb site, but it's a little bit of a ruse. Oscar will play the smart play again though. He just parks himself in there so no one can actually push down through. He will just ward them off if they push into him. But meanwhile, they are trying to slip through the back door anyway.
They're already down secret. Once again, going to be trying to replicate that strategy from the previous round. It's Kenny to find the first Oscar. Going to be hitting the deck. Dennis tries to do all he can, but that's only going to be 1 frag going his way before he is swiftly traded out. It's Chris J with the AWP coming in from ramp. He has to be the one to make a difference. He's going to get caught looking completely the wrong way. Just quickly snapped up there by Apex. He's now found himself 2 frags and the bomb plant. It's MBK trying to keep Rops at bay, who does connect a couple of shots downrange, and that's just going to force him on out. Lol's too far away to really have any impact into this round. They're already thinking about saving. There we go. They're going to fall on back out of the site. That's G2 to find themselves a second. And Sharks jumping down from above. And we'll be able to deal with Rops. There we go. He pounces when you least suspect it.
It's true. Right moment there. Good decision making across the board. G2 being able to link the second round together as well is going to be very beneficial for them. No chance of the reset coming out. This is going to very much hinder Mousesports throughout this point. They can try and work their way back through. Wouldn't be surprised if we actually see them get, quite close to equalising the scoreline here. Should get this following round as well. Bring themselves to that 4-3 sort of scoreline. And it could get them the confidence they need as well now to start doing a lot of damage on their T-half. You can see the effects of the damage done to the economy of Mousesports. Not great. Most likely they just kind of invest tiny amounts, probably a little bit, a couple of pistols coming out. Just work around the 1 rifle they have over on Lau. And they need Lau to do a lot of damage here.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure on him. And at the same time, having the M4, he can do a lot of damage. And that's certainly what they need him to do. But this round isn't essential. It's one that, they wouldn't be necessarily planning to win anyway. Oscar's going to have the Deke. Already pushed up over towards Mini. A couple of players here outside. And Kenny with the AWP. Well, it's going to be nice and easy for him. Like shooting fish in a barrel as he spots out the first. Chris J going to hit the ground. Apex, meanwhile, raining in death from afar as Lol getting nothing done with the M4. Now it's just Dennis waiting in the wings, keeping things quiet. Now peeking on out, could do some damage with this USP as Kenny's there. And he's seen Kenny kill a lot of his friends at this point, so wants to try and get this trade frag. Spots out Body, spots out Kenny. Gonna land a shot, Kenny will go down. Now he grabs himself the M4, Body not fully aware where it's come from. Bomb's gonna get dropped out in the open, and there we go, Oscar to find Shocks as well. Suddenly it's a 2-on-2. And this round is incredibly possible. Dennis gonna be tagged down low from Apex and will be finished on off. It's all on Oscar. A Deagle, a dream, and MBK, he loves to do nothing more than crush the dreams of those beneath him. 4-3 as G2 find themselves the 3rd round.
Look, this is pretty cool though. Actually, Dennis being able to catch them off guard. Did find the opening frag. Struggled a little bit to get the second one, but was able to do so in the end. Unfortunately, couldn't get that kill onto the T-player that did boost themselves up on towards red. Now, scary factor is, they've invested into this round. They do have a lot to play with, but again, this is kind of last chance saloon. If they don't pick this one up, G2 are going to move in their way through, get this 4th round on the board, then probably take the 5th as well. It's very scary because this could put G2 in such a good position this early onto the game over on their T-half. Mousesports now need to actually lock things down and somehow work their way through and close it out.
MBK removing Lol from existence. Rops over towards ramp, has a lot on his plate as players start to make their way towards him. Looks like it's going to be all on Rops. Can't get anything done, fully flashed at the mercy of Shocks' AK. Not the ideal place you ought to be finding yourself. He will go down, the push in towards B. Well and truly underway. Oscar does find one into MBK at least. The Lurk player up towards A eliminated from the equation. And Dennis opening up the double doors, trying to deny this bomb plant, does exactly that. Apex dropped bomb down in the middle of the site, and a little bit of time left for G2 to go and pick this up. Still not on the clock just yet, and Shocks finds Dennis. This round's just been made that much harder. It's all on Oscar. 1v3, we were saying how he normally has standout performances here on Nuke, and he's going to need to do that and much more as he finds himself in a battle against overwhelming odds.
Oscar will take his fight through events here. You can see trying to reposition opening to at least do some work if he can get the correct angle. The bomb hand's only just come down, which means he has a lot of time to play with, and this is good for him because he doesn't actually have the kit, so chances are if he doesn't find anything soon, he's going to have to back off and save. You can see he's quite confident as he is peeking round, hoping to at least get these opening frags on the board to try and start the potential retake into this round. He is going to commit and go for it. Actually gets the opening headshot back in towards Shox there, but Kenny had a better angle. Peeks over from window, will take him down, meaning that G2 now equalize the scoreline and should actually be able to go on here and get the advantage, get a 5-4 score on the board, because Mousesports, they're pretty broke. They don't really have too much to work with. They can invest, but it's just going to be upgraded pistols, CZs, 5.7s, that sort of thing coming into this. And you don't imagine they're really going to be able to pull this off the back of shenanigans as well, because G2 just have so much more to play with. They can just use their range advantage, hold further back, pick them off from distance. Shox actually goes to the Mat 10 as well. He just wants to capitalize. He just wants to play a bit of a game out of this one.
He wants to try and make some serious money, and he's looking to do exactly that. Finds himself 2 frags in this round. Over before you could even start to cast it. Chris J falls to Shox, and there we go. G2, they pick themselves up a 5th. They actually take the lead now, and they win 5 consecutively, I believe. So the money going to be looking great on their part. When you look over at Mousesports, really, it's all been the Dennis show for the most part. 10 frags to him right now. Everyone else a little bit absent. Oscar hasn't really had the AWP too much. Instead, they've been tossing it over to Chris. So curious to see if they eventually try and play the double AWP setup, as we do sometimes see teams do, especially when you have 2 competent AWPers such as Oscar and Chris J. I mean, Chris J, he's been finding the frags they need. So already players for G2 fast and aggressive over here towards A. They're showing no signs of slowing down. Shox is boosted on up at top of the marshmallow as well to try and spot some frags outside.
He's pushed to come through. I mean, Lau on the elevated angle here, just going to hold from rafters. It's a cheeky little angle, quite hard to spot him out, so he should be able to do some damage. Death from above, I mean, it's quite easy to spam to the hitbox from that angle. Then it's also going to peek through. We'll find the kill over towards Apex, but does get taken down on the trade back through. Leaves him in this 4 versus 3 situation. The only scary factor is that Oscar is low. Hopefully, if they do try and push their way in towards that A-bomb site, Lau can actually ward them off for quite some time. But he's going to get hit from either angle. That's the only impactful factor is, if they do pick at the same time, they will sniff him out and most likely find the kill onto him. But they actually pick one by one. MBK will be capitalized because of this. Now they start to try and overwhelm him. Sick headshot from Shoxy there to put him down to an early grave. 3 versus 2. Oscar's trying to try and peek his way out. Actually just using it to try and keep his presence there. So they try and focus over towards him. Rops comes through with the first opening headshot. There's Kenny has to try and retaliate, though. Takes down Oscar. Rops tries to do so much more. Will get the second. Flicks round to try and claim the third, but Kenny was too fast.
This is where Mouse really have to start worrying now. I mean, money once again isn't fantastic. They won't be able to really buy too much into this. We might see them force out of sheer desperation, but instead, it's going to be another force buy down to $2,000. This is going to mean G2 should more than likely pick themselves up a 7th, and getting this sort of advantage early on the T side on Nuke is worrying, to say the least, especially when you consider that it is, you know, a very good map for G2. Even when we kind of think back, you know, to past lineups with these players on, it was always one that was very much within their repertoire of a map that they were strong on. And well, Body, looking to cement that idea exactly. Finds the early frag on a Dennis. Already a round that started off bad, looking to get even worse. Chris J, he's got himself the R8. What a trooper.
Very interesting that has actually come out. Let's see what he can do with this. Obviously, had quite a few changes coming into effect. Let's see if he can do some damage with this revolver. Is firing off those pot shots, trying to do some damage, but can't quite connect the shots just yet. Forced to fall back. Let's see if he's going to go Wild West on him. Unfortunately not. No chance of that to come out. Lau will find the headshot over on towards MBK, though. Does dispatch him. Grabs an AWP as well now. And they're actually just hunting towards him. They're pushing in because they need to recover that bomb. He is in their domain right now. He has it on lockdown. He's taking the fight towards him as well. Could actually catch him off guard, as they assume he is just sitting back in towards T-spawn. They're going to have to reposition, do a full loop around the map to try and recover it and actually catch him off guard. This is very interesting.
Yeah, now Body's waiting on the corner. They're relying on the fact that Shox can sneak in from behind. Like you said, he did a full lap of the map, but this has used up a lot of time. Lol isn't in a great place to capitalize on time, though. And Shox looking to drop in from behind. He's going to make noise on the initial fall, but Lol... Oh, he heard that. Lol's keen ears. He does indeed hear the drop. Now he's got to try and spot out where Shox is, but he thinks he's in vent. As a result, he snuck on by. They're going to be able to get the bomb at least. 20 seconds left to play around with. They're hunting for him, though, and this could actually come back to bite them as he's over towards A, finds that one frag. Now he's got 3, the hat-trick, looking for the 4th. It's all on Shox with the Mac 10, looking to try and be the Mac Daddy of G2. Lol waiting on the corner, time's running out. He's got to be fast here, going to be running onto the site to try and get that bomb down. Lol's got the Molotov, though, to force him out off the site. Will be forced back. It's a one-on-one. Time is ticking and working against Lol now. He's got to try and make every second count. Spots out Shox, swaps out the AWP for the AK. Makes his way into the site. But Shox is playing this perfectly. A textbook hold, rounding the corner. Mac 10 raining death from afar. Down he goes. a close round, but G2, they picked themselves up a 7th.
Fair play as well. That's a huge shot of a Mat 10 to actually land. Absolutely insane that he's been able to do that. Very, very well played there from Shoxy. Just smart. Double up setup actually comes out as well. One of them on Kenny, of course, the other getting taken by Shoxy. Both of these players, unreal with the weapons when they actually are put into their element. Especially Shox as well. More of an aggressive style we're going to see coming out for him. So it'll be cool to see what they actually achieve with that. Situating themselves towards outside early. Kenny going to try and find the opening frag. Misses though, that is a shame. That could have been a very critical opener if Kenny was allowed to take that into the early round. Could have completely changed the pace of this one. Would have gotten that one-man advantage they need. Chris J though with the AWP is actually going to take it over towards ramp this time. If they overwhelm him and actually push together, they could remove any potential benefits of him actually having that AWP in his pouch. He is forced to fall back though.
Yeah, now Rops falls on back in his usual position. Oscar being able to find one, but the equalizer comes through instantaneously courtesy of Kenny on the back of his AWP. This is a heavy investment, though, from G2, and I mean, is it going to pan out? Well, Kenny's trying to prove that it will. Finds that frag out of LOL, but it's Chris J on the site to come up trumps with an AWP of his own, putting it with 2-on-3. We can see Shox and MBK grouped up together. Looking like they want to try and execute out towards this A site, but actually, as we see Shox with the bomb fall out and now start to make his way outside, looking like they're going to split in towards A. The option's still there for them to head down in through Secret, though. And as they find Oscar, they might do exactly that. We can already see that Shox now looking to try and cross. We can see MBK try and dive down the vents. But Chris J to find the first. Now this is where Shox has to trade things out. Got the AWP just homed in on the angle. Rops can rotate on round to try and reinforce it. There's only 30 seconds left. Both players from Mousesports on this A site, and Shox, with his back against it, going to be fading away down through Secret to try and plant on B.
Slips his way down into the underground, but can he actually pick this one up as he slowly tiptoes his way through? Trying to remain undetected, undercover. Peeks in with the bomb out. And we'll actually be able to get it planted just in the nick of time, obviously, as we get close. We'll back off as well. Starts to reposition, making an awful lot of noise. This will be toying with the players because the amount of audio cues they're hearing. They're trying to second guess, actually work out which ones are going to be real and which were just fakes, attempts to confuse them. Chris J will push his way in towards the bomb set though, but Shox will peek through, trying to go for more of a contact up with the AWP. Has to switch out to the side and one push his way in. Gets the drop on Chris J. Huge amount of damage transferred over towards drops. Switches his way through as well. Will execute him. I mean, that is insane. He's gotten away with it. A hat trick for the ages there coming out from Shoxy. Vintage stuff on display there. G2 tearing it up.
And you say Shox is more aggressive with the AWP. That's the best demonstration of it. Look at this jump through the smoke. Quick scope out on a Rops, and oh, there's a reason. There's a reason why this man is feared. And there we go. 4 rounds the advantage of G2. And at this point, Mouse, they've got to have all the momentum sucked out of them. You see Chris J's going to have a signature scout towards that side, trying to lay the hurt down. Apex could be tagged down low, actually. Has to fall on back. So for once, they don't get control of here off the bat. And they will be playing with Apex tagged down extremely low, but still, with all the firepower on Kenny S and Shox, they're not really feeling the effect of that just yet.
Oscar makes his approach over, just trying to tiptoe his way through, just having a bit of a sniff right now of what he actually wants to go towards, seeing if anyone's going to push into his domain. Kenny with an early smoke towards outside as well. This will zone them off a little bit, so they can try and push through if anyone was situated towards garage. It is fairly open though. They are basically given free passage, but Dennis is up close. He's going to be hearing a lot of information, knows vaguely what is going on towards outside, and probably has made the call that it is going to be a play down towards Secret. The headshots start to come through. Body will claim the opening frag. This is where Oscar has to perform. Kenny will be the one to try and take the fight towards him, but Kenny dispatches him there with that contact AWP. Nicely done.
Yeah, now that boosted players up over towards heaven. Chris J is completely blind. Down he goes. LOL next to fall. It's all on Rops, and Rops going to be on the ropes as he finds himself 1v5 over towards B. Bomb's gone down, and at this point he wants to try and save anything they can get worth its weight in gold into the next round, but morale's going to be low. The beast has awoken that is Shox, and it's going to be actually just put down straight away, but Kenny's there to try and refrag, and down he goes. At this point, I feel like, you know, Kenny S and Shox, I would argue, are two very kind of similar players in terms of themselves emotionally, and when you let them get into that kind of heightened state of, you know, they feel confident, they're playing in their element, that's when they're so incredibly deadly. They're so led by kind of their emotions in this game. And you can tell that they're confident right now. You can tell that they're happy with how they're playing. They're 5 rounds ahead right now on T-side Nuke. They've broken the economy of Mouse, and both of them just playing out of their damn minds.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal to witness. I mean, this is what we wanted to see, right? Just great stuff coming out. Incredible T-side performance. They've kicked us up to the CT half. I mean, God help Mousesports at this point. Because this is crazy to see from G2. Just round after round of pure adrenaline on show. Rops going to go for the early play over towards ramp, just having a little bit of a peek, seeing if anyone was close by. Doesn't get too much information for it, but G2, they're just holding firm. They're playing it smart. They realize they just post themselves up, wait and see if Mousesports will make the first mistake, try and push it potentially into their domain. They will be able to execute them. Apex as well. Look at this huge rotate. The flank coming around from behind. Rob's completely unaware. He should just slip his way through from the backstab, take him down. Now they've got complete control of this B bomb site. This is so smart from Apex here. Ready for the right moment to strike as he just walks his way through. He's going to go for the knife.
He was looking at that. I think he was thinking, how can I possibly get the knife in this situation? Yeah. And sadly, throwing knives aren't a thing yet. Valve, please add. And he does just have to go for the headshot. Now we're going to be seeing Apex in his element down over towards this B site. He gets into the backline, and that's what he's so incredibly good at. He's still tearing things up, finally to be shut down by Dennis. But it might be too little too late as the bomb's been down and ticking for a little bit of time now. Dennis does find one more, but swiftly traded out by Kenny. Kenny's going to fall at the hands of Chris, but Kenny and Shox, just this dynamic tag team duo that have been there to trade each other out time and time again. Whenever one of them dies, you can guarantee the other is there to avenge him. And now it's all on LOL. Deagle in hand. Bomb timer ticking down. Goes for the headshot on Shox. And, well, Shox replicates it straight back. Down he goes, and that's going to be a 4-10 scoreline. 6 rounds ahead now for G2 on their T side. A phenomenal performance across the board.
Absolutely beautiful stuff coming out. It's been very amazing to witness. Great stuff to see. You can see the buys coming back through as well. They're going to go for these AK buys. We also have G2 going to be up in to pick up the AWP. That's going to be Kenny S for that, as you would expect. Let's see what they actually bring to the table here, though, because into this final round, they need to do something different. They have to get a little bit more to play with. I mean, sure, you got the double up set up on Mouse, and Dennis actually could be the critical factor. This is one of the most important elements. Playing around the smoke like this as he sits over by Red, he's going to hit all of those footsteps, knows they're brushing past. He's heard 3 players push past him towards Secret. Surely he should relay that information. Oscar's able to pick off one. That is huge, but he has to do so much more. Late on the backstab, he's just going to have to leave it all to Oscar. Oscar goes down. Dennis needs to try and react a little bit quicker here. Struggling, doesn't even find the frag. Kenny knows where he is now as well. That is very awkward.
BK, meanwhile, though, out towards A, going to be able to just dispatch of Lala. Kenny's still alive somehow, and actually still alive and kicking. Rob's going to go down, putting him at 2-on-2. Oh, okay, there's MBK Express delivery. He does fall down, his corpse mangled and bloody, falling in front of Kenny to motivate him to clutch this out. He gets to witness it, his teammate just torn apart by Chris J, but there we go. There's the revenge up the ladder. Okay, Kenny, that's what you're made of. But then there's Dennis, swift to trade things out. Mouse, they find themselves 5 rounds behind. Can they pull things back in the second half? Find out after a quick break.
Welcome back, everyone, to the ESL Pro League. What an amazing first half has just gone down over on Nuke. It's going to be a 10-5 scoreline. Mousesports struggling. I mean, at the beginning, it looked like actually they had a complete resurgence. We were like, damn, this is pretty good, right? This is vintage Mouse on display. And then it all slipped away. It didn't look that great. All of a sudden, G2, they are tearing it up. And I'm honestly quite scared, because this is the thing. Now they're on the CT side.
Yeah, and you know, when we've been looking at it, Shox and Kenny have been doing so well. They're the two that you really don't want to be, you know, saying that about if you're Mouse. I mean, looking at it on their CT side, they can lock down everywhere with these two players. They're so incredibly versatile. Kenny, you know, with the AWP just kind of dedicated to that. But the fact that Shox can pick one up as well, the double AWP set up on that CT side is something we've kind of seen used a little bit more now. Perhaps having one over towards ramp, one outside, you could very easily kind of rotate them out as well to keep them guessing. And that's something that both Kenny and Shox are very good at. And so, you know, I mean, them almost single-handedly you know, pulling G2 through this. And that's, you know, before you even take into account how the rest of the guys are playing. Mouse, meanwhile, have had very little to really answer back in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's true. It's been very, very odd. I mean, to be honest, I'm quite scared because there's been a couple of rounds where Mouse somehow peek it out just at the edge, but they need really so much of an advantage to close these rounds out. It seems like they can't win in a neck-and-neck situation, which is odd to say. I mean, in terms of players actually stepping up, it looked a little bit better than the previous match. I mean, frag distribution's like kind of better, but I'm still scared for them. I just feel like they kind of haven't woken up yet.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, that does seem to be like a bit of a reoccurring problem. They kind of hit this wall, and then they really struggle to get over it. Now, they didn't call any pauses in, which, you know, to me maybe suggests that they think they're doing a little bit better. Maybe they have got some fresh ideas moving into the T side, but still, I mean, a lot of this is going to be decided by the pistol round in a lot of ways. If they pick it up, it goes 8-10. If G2 go ahead and win it, though, it can take this to a 13-5 scoreline. At that point, Mouse is so incredibly far behind. And, you know, the morale's got to be taking a bit of a hit from this as well. So heading into the pistol round, it is going to be crucial. And already just raw aggression out towards this A site. Rops looking to try and spill some blood. Does exactly that. Picks the first up, then does damage along with Lol onto MBK. The frags going back and forth. But ultimately, it's all going to be the Rop show as he finds himself 2 frags. Kenny, 1v3. It's going to require an eruption of frags in order for him to clutch this out.
It's what you sort of expect, though, coming into this, to be honest. I mean, Mousesports, so many fantastic pistol players on that side, and they have just lived up to their names here. Kenny, he can do damage with the pistol, but you need to give him a chance to actually get into the bomb site before he can, and Dennis will execute him. Very nicely done. More commonly what we expect coming out there. Would have been awkward if they weren't actually able to pick that pistol round up, but they do it. Now, obviously, as well, they have a lot of weapons to play with. That's going to be the 4 AKs coming out. They have the utility. Chris going to be the only one that opts to go for the UMP to try and get a cash builder out. 2 scouts in play, interestingly enough, for G2, though. They can do some damage, get the tags out, and those pistols can finish off the weakened players, or vice versa, just to make their lives a little bit easier.
Yeah, and what? Yeah, Rock's going to be tagged down. It's him and Body. They actually combine between them, and they're using this double scout setup towards that side like a budget AWP. Does work out as it nets in that initial man advantage. Chris J now over towards ramp, wants to try and peek on him, but look at this. Body and Shox both rotating around to try and take position here to watch this exact play. Body going to be tagged down low. Looks to Shox as they both run away, leave ramp, give that up completely, and it looks like they're just going to try and play on for the retake at B. You can see that they've actually got Apex down here lurking in the shadows to try and deny the plant, just biding his time, waiting for these guys in Body. Well, he's going to be the first to fall as Oscar, putting it into a 4-on-4. Bomb gets dropped in the middle of the site, and now Chris J trying to plant it. Apex to try and cancel it out, but actually goes for the wrong man, and then there's Chris J to cancel him out. Lol gets MBK in the meantime, and now it's all on Shox. 1v3, a scout in hand, a bucket full of dreams, and a push coming in from Secret.
Can't really amount too much to come out from this man. You'd imagine this will be a fairly quick round going the way of Mousesports at this point. Shox will take his time through, peering out to see what weapon that was, and it is just another scout. Realizes this and opts to just back off. Thinks he will just get out of there and try and stay alive into the follow-on. Probably a smart decision to make, as it isn't worth running the risk of actually taking the fight, where he will most likely lose this. There, though, means that Mousesports have worked their way through. They're getting another round on the board off the back of this, which you would expect. G2 invested very heavily into this one, though. They went for those 2 scouts, a lot of armor, a lot of pistols, and a lot of utility. So their economies can take a bit of a hit. You can see sitting around 2k now after this round as we work our way through into the following one. Not fabulous, but it does mean as we work our way in again after this, they will be able to still get the buyout. This one, though, has to kind of be a little bit of a save.
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, the Scout is kind of the ideal weapon to have in this situation. Right? You have a bunch of pistols, the Scout can tag them down low, kind of hit for about 70 to 80, and then, you know, you can pick up the frags with the pistols without even having to upgrade. So, not really that bad for G2 having that as the saved weapon. And it's Shox takes it outside once again. He's going to be facing off against Lol, who's already up on top of Marshmallow trying to spot him out, but Shox posted up to shut down this plate, and never mind, Lol going to be faster on the trigger. An instant peek, and down he goes. Well, now we can see Body outside. Lol just going to opt to retreat. They take the man advantage, and now they go ahead and leave. Apex going to be picking up the scout as it does get grandfathered onto him, but everyone else from Mouse grabbing control of ramp and making their way potentially down towards B, although you've got to bear in mind they could still go hell and then split up in towards that A site.
Repositioning now as they back their way over down towards that B-bomb site. Going to see what they can actually find as they flood their way through. Kenny will peek straight out though, opens the door to try and create a little bit of a confusion, starts to reposition to peek with his teammates at the right time. Will take his fight through vents, but he's warded off right now as there is a layer of fire keeping him out of the sight. Dennis does well because he takes the frag over on towards body. Kenny will eventually get that bomb planted as they leave themselves now in a 5 versus 3. They make the situation better by the second as well, as MBK will get dropped. Kenny spots out Rops, but Apex actually takes him down and quickly sprints over there to try and grab that weapon. They shouldn't know that Kenny's there. They don't, but Lau finds him in the end.
G2 now with the ability to buy on down. You can see Kenny's got the AWP to play around with. Everyone's going to have pretty much everything they need. Utility is going to be a little bit bare bones here for G2. Don't really have as much as they would have liked. When you look over at Mouse, they've got literally everything they could ever want. But Chris J is going to be keeping the scout in play. Interesting decision. I mean, he's someone who, like we said, is kind of renowned for using this on a lot of these maps and is very, very good at it. Let's see if we can put it to good use, though, despite the fact Kenny's going to be on that AWP. The smokes go down. Dennis pushing up outside. Bomb going to be in tow as well. Right on his heels, Oscar and Chris J here to join him. The rest of Mouse, I mean, looking like they're going to try and sell a bit of a lurk out towards A. Lol's up on Marshmallow, tag down low, but as Kenny goes to peek for him, Dennis pushing up through the smoke, isolates Kenny and finds him on his lonesome, grabs the man advantage. Outside control going to be going the way of Mouse. And no retaliation just yet from G2.
Sitting still right now, just waiting for the right moment to strike. I mean, Rops is just trying to clear these angles, just waiting to see the right moment to actually strike as he does peer his way through. Lau is in the elevated angle as well, though, just peering down. Chris J actually kicks it off, removes MBK from the equation. That is a nice opener with a scout. Look at this, there's already a huge deficit. Massive lead in the favor of Mouse into this round. It just keeps getting bigger as well. Rops the headshot over on towards Apex. Very quick reactions now. They can flood their way out towards A. Bombs over body with a 3K. Tears his way through. Crazy that all of a sudden one man has turned the flow of battle so quickly. Now these last two players have to try and close it out, but look how low they are. And Shoxy arrives on the scene. He's the classic member of G2, the one you expect to do so much damage in these sort of scenarios. See if he can pick it up here as he slowly makes his approach through, waiting for them to peek into him. Just tiptoes around, firing off these pot shots to try and draw them out. Has the Molotov to force them out of position. Look how low they are as well. If they actually have to wait around in that, they should be dispatched early. Shox, though, running out of time. He's going to have to react soon. Peeks wide, and Rops will slay him.
You just saw the effect that the one man could have had. They let the bodies hit the floor, and I mean, a standout performance there from him alone. 3 frags in a matter of seconds. Almost turns the tide of battle as well, but Shox just couldn't quite clutch it out there. Now going to be seeing the pause called in. I mean, right now, if you're Mouse, you've got to be feeling quite good about yourself, right? You've had a very, very bad start to your CT side, but coming into this now on the T side, they're looking to be fairly fantastic. Although, let's not forget, we did originally see this on their CT side start. They took, the 5 rounds very early on, and then were completely quiet throughout the rest of it. Meanwhile, this time, they've gone ahead and grabbed themselves 4. They're in good standing to go ahead and get a 5th now because the economy of G2 does not support a buy. But is it going to stop here, or are they going to bring a little bit more to the table on their T side?
It's weird, right? It's a hard question to ask. I mean, you can see G2 are actually going to force up around this as well, so they have something to play into this round. They're not just going to give it away entirely for free. But Mousesports, they're really going to try and pack a punch into this one. They've got a lot to play with here. Lots of rifles have been brought out. I mean, obviously, Oscar on the AWP as well. Someone that can just single-handedly tear them apart. The thing is, the following round after this, round 6, is going to be a very interesting one. I want to know what we spoke about there, what's going to go on in that following round, because obviously that's where G2 are going to try and really switch things up and start to lock it down in more of a dominant fashion.
Getting into this, so taking inventory, what we've got on G2 is 2 Deags, 3 5.7s, a couple in, well, just a single nade on body. Armor on the 5.7 and Deagle players as well, so they're not going into this with too little. MBK the first to fall in. That is going to be a pistol out the hands of G2. Lol making his presence known towards outside, sneaking on up. As Mouse, they're just looking to try and hold this for the time being. They've found the early man advantage. They don't want to go rushing into these pistols, risk giving that away. They're just going to play it safe.
Body peering around, seeing what he can actually spot out there as the rest of his teammates do make their approach for him. I mean, you can see Shox right now trying to actually take that fight towards outside. He's actually going to fully clear it and try and push around and to go for a late round backstab. This is great as well, because the rest of the Mousesports players are situated outside of ramp and towards radio. They're going to try and go for a late round ramp here. He can try and speed himself up now as well and come in to try and slow that down. Meanwhile, everyone else is set up perfectly to deal with this below ramp over towards that B side. Nice nade rolls out. Unfortunately, it isn't going to hit onto anyone just yet. Oh, Shocks, though, in position. Sees Lau on his lonesome. Easy deagle headshot from behind. Grabs his weapon. That's how critical that backstab is. Now Apex as well, proving how useful we can be over towards Ramp as he finds a headshot back on towards Chris J. Slows him down entirely. They had to change their game plan now and commit towards an A-bomb site attack where Shocks, with the AK he scavenged off of Lau, can slay Oscar.
Yeah, the kind of defining factor is they've been able to get Rops up in towards Heaven. He's going to be watching it from here like a Guardian, but no face makes that difficult. And actually, down goes Dennis as well in the blink of an eye. G2, they finish this one off. That's an 11-9 scoreline on the back of a round that really should have never been for G2. They invest into that very little, only buying down to $2,000. That's not only great in terms of them eventually finding a round and putting a stop to Mouse building up a bank, but it also means the bank on the side of G2 has now been given a huge cash injection because they already had $2,000 in it before they won that round. So you can see a couple of these players now are going to be sitting pretty on, what, $4,000, $5,000 left over.
Yeah, a lot to play with as we work our way throughout. And I mean, it's going to be interesting as well how this one actually does boil down though into these later rounds, because more so, this is where you expected the change in pace to come out for G2. This is what the pause was for, this following round here. But now they're even better equipped as well because they just won that previous one. They need to try and link these together though. We can't see them falling short here and actually, you know, falling at this hurdle. They need to keep these rounds going together and actually start to lock things down. Let's see if that is going to be the case though. Early on, Dennis and co have been able to slip their way down through Secret and towards backsteps and try and take this fight through.
Yeah, Shocks is posted up to remedy this exact play, and while he is there, peeking on out, going to be able to spot Dennis on that initial peek. Now falls away, smokes it off, and just retreating back a little bit more passively towards B. That smoke's going to buy them time to rotate another player down if necessary, but already you can see that Mouse, they're reconsidering their options here. Now the good thing is G2 prepared for this perfectly, have Kenny posted up ready to find anyone as they try to waver out through Secret. Oscar's rotated around towards that side, going to be providing the smoke necessary to allow the cross out of Secret, provide some safety. Kenny shooting himself up in towards Heaven to try and get a watch over the top of the smoke, but okay, then there's Lol with a nice crispy one tap. Down goes Kenny. And that's a mad advice seized here for Mouse. They're just going to grab that bomb, rotate on back, and look like they might make their way out towards ramp.
Yeah, it's looking good. Let's see if they can actually keep it up, though, or how this one will go down as they hit them with that ramp push. Now they can slip their way down in towards that B bomb site. It's a very nice situation to be in for them now. It's actually not too bad at all. Shocks as well. He's here, ready to try and do some damage, but he aims a little bit high. We'll be able to adjust his crosshair in the end. Takes the head clean off of Dennis. And now it's a 3 versus 4 retake. Going to be quite hard for them. Body also dispatched. Can't really find his way through vents because of the amount of Molotovs they are lobbing in there to keep him out of position.
And BK making quick work of Oscar, though, and actually going to be able to pounce on a Lol as well. The trade finally comes through from Chris J, but it's still a 2-for-1 courtesy of MBK. Body going to be 1v2 time taken away from here, and then there's Ropsin with the peek. Like a bit of an unconventional angle there. Does get spotted out, but he still finds the head. So that will be... to find themselves yet another round, 11-10. G2 though with enough money to buy down as a result of having that extra $2,000 in their bank accounts a couple of rounds ago. And okay, it's unconventional to say the least. The double lot buy, Shocks and Kenny, everyone else on these pistols. It's a huge gamble, but it could pay off.
It definitely could. A lot of potential for this to actually work out. Shocks, oh, look at that. Opening shot on towards Oscar. That is to die for as he tears him apart there. Absolutely fabulous. Let's see what more they can actually bring to the table, though. They now have a triple AWP setup in the hands of G2. This is going to be very interesting into this round.
Yeah, it's Cyclops mode fully engaged here for 3 of the players. Shocks and Kenny never ever leaving the comfort of these iron sights. Body as well, not an exception to the rule. A team of 3 Cyclops is not to be discriminated against indeed, as we can see them just locking down multiple different angles across the map, not peeking on out, not looking to give this advantage away. Molotov going to come in and to get anyone off rafters, but MBK isn't going to be capitalized on as a result. Kenny will be spotted with a nice fancy flick out onto Lol, eliminates him. Body with an AWP as well, removes Dennis, and it's going to be the Pistols now to chime in with some action as well. Rops hits the dirt, it's all on Chris J. A plethora of AWPs, and he can't do anything against it. The long-range artillery firing downwind and securing that round. 12-10 as G2 go ahead and pick up a 12th.
It's true. A very, very good result coming through there, as obviously Mousesports had just started to nip at their heels once again. They did just bounce their way back through. Now it's an instant reset coming into fruition here. This is interesting because it just affects the flow of the game here a lot. As well, with that triple set that was actually saved, they are going to opt to just wean that down to the 2 orbs rather than 6 or 3. Would be a little bit tad risky. But, I mean, it's interesting overall. I just don't really know what we're going to see from Mouse here. They seem like they have moments where they really do know what they're doing. They start to fight back, and then it just kind of slips away. And, I mean, coming into this round as well, their economy is pretty busted. It's not going to be that fantastic. You know, they've got the AWP to work with, but the rest of it's just pistols.
Yeah, you know, that's been a bit of a reoccurring problem, as you said. It seems like they get a bit of momentum behind them, and then it all just starts to kind of slip through the net. Meanwhile, G2, they've remained resilient throughout this, and in spite of where things have got close, then we do just see them kind of fight back and then retake that lead. In that round, the double AWP buy, as we said, very risky, but it pays off, and they do go for these kind of risk-reward style of plays. Meanwhile, Mao's kind of playing things a little bit more safer, and I feel like that's been to their detriment in some of these rounds. You know, we've seen kind of them being a little more passive than maybe they should, lacking that sort of explosive play, which not only complements itself very well to the T side on Nuke, but also just to kind of Mao's as a whole. You've got a lot of players on there with a lot of firepower. Oscar's been missing a couple of key shots as well with the AWP, and I mean, they have finally got it onto him. We did see Chris J kind of pick it up in the beginning over Oscar, and I think that's because they realized he was missing shots earlier on Cobblestone. So now that he's got that back in his hands, it'd be great to see a bit of a return to life from him. A breath of fresh air into this T side is going to be underway. They find themselves 2 rounds behind G2, and Kenny trying to play up on the rafters here to watch outside Apex. Does find Chris J meanwhile, so already a man down. Kenny swept off his feet a little bit there as he does full knowledge, but equalize things back into a 4-on-4, and the push towards outside well and truly underway, but bomb's been dropped in the open. Kenny and Oscar go blow for blow, but ultimately Oscar emerges victorious. Rop's going to be doing some damage on a body, and it's all on Shocks and MBK, the AWP and AK between them.
Raining Hellfire from above. Nice shot from MBK there to actually do some damage. It is only just Oscar left, and he's trapped in a very awkward spot, and it seems like they actually know where he is as well. They've sniffed him out, and they know how to deal with him. He will back his way into hut, though, hoping to reposition, hoping to find some frags with this AWP, but he peeks into the waiting crosshairs of Shocks, who will remove him from the game. And there you have it. There's another round going the way of G2. They should actually get their 14th on the board here, you'd imagine, when you look at things, because Mousesports, they have around 2k each. It's just not enough.
Yeah, you know, the thing is right now for Maz is everyone is kind of pulling their own weight. It's not like it's a bad performance from them necessarily. It does seem like G2 are playing very well. Apex going to have the MP9. They're going to be at the full mercy of that. No armor on anyone on Maz. Great opportunity for him to farm some cash, and that would just further bolster G2's chances of closing this out. Shocks to find the first as LOL goes down. Apex shoving in one on the back of the MP9, looking to try and make some serious money as he gets a second. Continues his aggression, he's going to push right in. And oh, Dennis, okay, trying to spread butter on him or something, does go down, as does Chris J. An expert feat of marksmanship and money-making ability from the man himself. Apex to rake in the money, 14-10. 4 rounds ahead right now. No money for Mouse, meaning that if they lose this, their economy is going to be bottomed out yet again, and that could just pave the way for G2 to ease to a 16-10 scoreline.
Yep, you imagine this is going to be them just tearing their way through. Obviously, the only thing is they have a little bit of a all-over-the-place buy. Body is on the auto shot. You have Apex on the MP9. It's going to rely quite heavily more so on players like Kenny S to do the damage early, to make Mousesports a little bit softer, to tear your way through them into these late rounds. Shoxy could actually be such a huge player into the round, though. This is going to be fantastic. Nice headshot to kick it off. Plays around the smoke as well. They don't know really where he is. He's able to get into the backline, transfer damage all over the place until Chris J pops up and takes him down.
I mean, now they've got an auto shot in an MP9 is the brunt of their forces. Apex has to prove me right that it is the best gun in the game. Up close and personal here on the corner, going to be spotted out by Oscar, who does just snuff him out. Body and MBK, 2-on-4, an auto shotgun and an AK. A little bit of utility, actually quite a considerable amount, all things considered. The Molotov, flash and nade on MBK going to be worth its weight in gold. Body going to have 2 flashes, which is going to pay dividends when it comes to eventually retaking a site if it gets down to it. But they find themselves at a 2-man disadvantage. Mousesports taking things very slowly. Don't want to risk walking into any unchecked corners, being very slow and methodical in their approach. And as we see MBK rotate back up towards this A site, playing in the vents, Rops does spot him out, so they have an idea that he's there. He's just going to opt to play things safe. Fades away. It's Oscar instead now they've got to worry about. He's holding this angle, and he's going to go down. No mercy from Body, who now converts that auto shotgun into an AK. A 2-on-3 ensues. They've been able to close the gap, and now they try and retake this A site.
Body is going to try an entry here, see if he can actually find any of these frags. But Chris J, he's been looking to pop with this rifle, so I wouldn't be surprised if he actually does ward him off. I mean, MBK also falls towards Rops, but Rops is just going to keep the paint train going. That's a nice 2K coming out from him. Good frags towards the end of the round. They lock that one down once again. This is all over the place into these rounds. But the thing is, it was more of a scout buy from G2. They kept onto the weapons they had in the prior round because they felt comfortable with running the risk of being reset, which means they can now get these AWP, the AWP out over on Kenny and the rifles and everyone else. This is a very healthy buy. If they can bounce back here as well and nip at the heels of Mousesports, they might actually get themselves into that 15-11 scoreline.
Yeah, Maz not out of the danger zone just yet for being reset. You'll have a couple of players with a little bit of money floating around, but here we go, smoke some flashes outside. The wall of smokes is there to box Shocks off, but it's Kenny rotating around this time into Secret to try and be the linchpin. Shocks just waiting on the smoke, actually going to just push straight through. I'm not sure they're going to see this coming. Dennis got aggressive in towards A, but now he's at the full mercy of the crossfire between Apex and Body, and it is working out for them. Kenny in the back line as well, doing some serious work, and down goes everyone on Mouse in the blink of an eye. MBK to find 2 huge frags, and 15-11. G2 arrive at match point in a triumphant fashion. 1 round away from closing this out. The money for Mousesports is nil. Dennis going to be able to afford himself an AK, but really that's about it.
It's true. It's looking like it's so close to just being shut down at this point. Very interesting, to say the least, that this has unfolded in this very timely fashion of G2 closing it out. Early smoke goes through everyone towards ramp there from Kenny S to at least ward them off for the meantime. Let's see what the T's are going to bring to the table here. I mean, they don't have the best buy at all. They are essentially broken into this round. They have a little bit of utility, and it seems like the call has been made to just go for an A site take, using skylights to flash and smoke their way through. But Body plays around the smoke fabulously, peeks out. That's a nice little opening 2K. Frag after frag goes his way. From the elevated angles as well, Shoxy finds one. There's Kenny for the final frag on towards Oscar. And a round that was supposed to be a quick A take is actually just a quick A slaughtering. And there we have it. Mousesports, unfortunately, not able to close it out. I mean, both maps go in the way of G2. Scary stuff, because Mouse had the potential to propel themselves up to that #1 spot. But now they lose 2 maps and are going to be actually knocked down a little bit, I believe, off the back of that result.
Yeah, and you know, what kind of crushing defeats they were, as well as that, an amazing performance from G2, I think, who are having that kind of final end of progression through the transition period. It seems like they've ironed out a lot of their kinks. Yeah, I mean, Mouse are a team that have been very strong throughout this. That's where they find themselves kind of where they are now, right up near the top. As you take a look at some of these highlights, let's just admire the marksmanship we saw across the board. Everyone having a great performance here. It was a lot closer than Cobblestone. Mouse did actually feel like Mouse again, as opposed to some random imposters that had gotten in. But yeah, I mean, they did do a couple of things that I thoroughly liked as well. I thought they had some great ideas for Nuke. It seemed a lot more refreshing in comparison to Cobblestone. In particular, round 19, their strategy in that first rifle round of the second half, I thought was phenomenal. They knew exactly how to counter Kenny S's outside hold, and what they did, they smoked down from red to Secret, put up that kind of 2-smoke wall of smokes. Then they stick Lowell up on top of the Marshmallow to bait out. They know that Kenny's going to be watching that one angle because he smoked off from Secret, and they just go for the bait and switch. Lowell shoulder peeks. Kenny's then focused on that one spot, and Dennis just pushes up through the smoke silently. They wouldn't expect him to do that, and he finds the frag on the back of it, and that kick-started a domino effect that let them win that round. A couple of innovative ideas, and I think, you know, a nice try from them overall, but G2 did just play things better.
I mean, G2 just looked better overall, to be honest with you. A lot of performances. It just seemed like Mousesports took a little bit too long to wake up. They were, you know, they didn't set their alarm clock. They woke up late. It just plays like this as well. There were so many scenarios where G2 just got the drop on Mousesports. I mean, the thing is, we have to touch on it though. Mousesports did a good job to actually bring the scoreline back to a closer fashion. Yeah. As G2, they only needed 6 rounds to close it out from the start of the second half, and Mouse were able to get, you know, those 6 rounds to play with. So at least they did something better. But still, could have been a closer game. Just unfortunately, Mouse seemed to let it slip in quite a few of those rounds.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it is a shame as well. Like you said, we did kind of see the resurgence of Mouse. It was nice to see them, a welcome change from them in a lot of respects. But as you said, there were so many rounds where G2 just got in the back line, and it seemed like Mouse weren't ever really fully prepared for anything that G2 were doing. Once again, it's just the whole idea of, you know, being able to read your opponent well, and I feel like that's something that Mouse still have to try and adjust to. It's not just having strategies already kind of in your strat book, it's knowing the strategies of everyone else and how to adapt to that. And you saw a couple of examples where they had that down, such as the outside take versus Kenny. Countering him in that round worked brilliantly, but the second that G2 learned that was kind of the overall plan, they switched it up entirely. And that's something G2 were phenomenal at doing, remaining so fluid, remaining so adaptable. And I think that is kind of one of their biggest advantages that I expect to see crop into things a lot more.
It's true. It was very interesting. Let's see how that actually does affect the standings as well, because Mousesports, they were towards the top end of the board. Let's see actually where they are situated now.
Yeah, still third,
yeah.
But they had the potential, as we said, to rise all the way up to first. G2, meanwhile, they're going to find themselves in 6th, which is exciting. Currently just below Fnatic, but they have played 2 games less. That's something to bear in mind, and they can still move up. Let's not forget, they started this journey right down there at the bottom, in amongst LDLC, Team Kinguin, and Envious. And since then, they've risen up to the top, up to the occasion, you could say, and now stand looking like they're contenders for the kind of top spots.
It's true. It's very interesting how this has actually unfolded now throughout today. I mean, throughout the week as well, it's been a lot of shifting around between these teams. With North now residing at that 4th spot. I mean, at the beginning of the week, they were claiming the champion spot over at
and they've been first for a while. So, yeah, no, they were in very good standing. We saw that all get mixed up just the other day in that Astralis game. Of course, them and Na'Vi now residing in the top 2 spots. But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of the actual leaderboard shifting around, people were expecting it to be fairly stagnant at this kind of point in competition, but there's still so much that can happen, still so much that can change. And, you know, that's why this season of Pro League, I think, is so damn exciting.
It's true. It's been very, very heavy contested. It's been awesome to watch. And if you guys have only just tuned in, you've missed all the action, but you can still catch it over at the YouTube channel. Head on over there, subscribe, ring that bell to stay up to date with all the latest and greatest. But e-gamers, that is all we have time for. Get to e-bed, and we'll catch you next week.